What happens in the time after your body dies? Today we have many thousands of records of communication with people living in the afterlife, describing where they're now living. We know where you go when your body dies. In this video I explain what we know about what happens when our bodies finally give out. Hello, I'm Dr. R. Craig Hogan, President of the Afterlife Research and Education Institute and Seek Reality Online. What happens after your body dies? After the transition from the body, you may spend time on the earth plane unseen, mingling among other people, going to your own funeral, or trying to communicate with loved ones. For nearly all people, this is a brief period. You will then go on to the next stage of your eternal life, what some people describe as going to the light. Other people don't spend any time on earth after leaving the body. They're immediately in the afterlife, sometimes sleeping for a short time and awakening in a setting such as a comfortable home or a recovery facility. Many people awaken on a couch in a home that was much like the home they lived in during their childhoods, if that was a happy time for them. Their loved ones are there when they awaken. Pets crowd around. The person awakening there has just been on a sick bed or an accident on earth, so they're at first confused. The loved ones around them explain what has happened and that they are in the next period of their eternal lives. It is a time full of love and joy. Alexandra, Queen Consort of King Edward VII of Great Britain, described in a recording after her death how she awoke in a setting that was just like her childhood home. This is her description from medium Leslie Flint's session in which she came through.
I remember very vividly awakening in a room which was very reminiscent of a room that I'd been very fond of many years previously in my earthly existence. In every way, it seemed to be an exact replica. The colorings, the materials, the furnishings, in fact, everything about it was a perfect reproduction. In fact, so much so that I did not realize at first that I'd passed on at all. And I remember only too well the very beautiful view from the window of the beautiful green grass, the lawns and the terraces, and at the bottom, far in the distance, the river. It was a spot which I had been most fond. And in this room on my awakening were many of my relations and friends that I had known. It was almost like a kind of reception, which of course it was, and I must admit it was a great joy to me to meet all these friends and all these souls that had meant so much to me in my earthly life, and to have the feeling of peace and the realization that it was an environment in the very room in which I was most happy. It was a room that had given me great joy and pleasure many, many years previously.
Alexandra said there were many family members and friends around her, as though they were in a reception. She met them with great joy. Many people who are now residents of the afterlife report that they were sick in bed on earth one moment, and the next they woke up in a recovery facility that looked like a hospital with many beds but no walls. They felt like they must be in a hospital of some sort, but their loved ones came and explained to them that they are in a recovery facility to wake up easily and comfortably. The loved ones then accompany them out of that area into the life after this life, explaining to them what had happened to them and what will happen next. A woman named Mary Ivans described awakening in a setting she felt must have been a hospital because she had been deathly ill. She speaks to a little girl in the next bed who is healthy and vibrant, but the little girl said she had diphtheria, an illness that was most often fatal at the time. After a short time, Mary's sister Kate came to her bed.
As I woke up and found myself in a kind of place like a hospital, I thought, well, what's this? Because I was in my own house and, I was sick of bed and everything, and I had a sister who was looking after me. And I remember waking up here and I was like a kind of ward place in the hospital, but very nice and very clean, and everything seems so fresh and airy, and everyone seemed to be so efficient and quiet and peace, and the sun, whatever it was, at least I thought it was the sun then, was shining through the windows now, and everywhere around was pretty and clean, and there were pictures hanging on the walls, and somehow it seemed like a very special kind of hospital. And I thought, well, this is strange. And then a very sweet woman came to me. She said, she said, you just have to rest a little while and then you'll soon be all right. Once you sort yourself out and get to know things, and your people will be coming in to see you in a wee while. I thought, this is strange. I know, sure, I was at home in my own bed, and here I am in a hospital, so I must have been unconscious, and they must have brought me into hospital. I did not think at first that I was dead. And then I could see, after a wee while, other souls lying around, and there was a sweet little lass next to me in the bed, a little blonde child, pretty child she was, and she was sitting up there, and she was chatting away, and then she showed me one or two things that she had, a dolly and some books and things, and she said, isn't it nice being here? She said, I'm so happy. I said, it's very nice, but what's wrong with you? She said, oh, I got diphtheria. I said, well, you don't look like as if you got diphtheria that was fresh as the daisy, and your cheeks and everything are bright and cheerful, you know. I could not think there's anything wrong with her wee lassie. And I said, well, how long have you been here? She says, oh, it's just come. She says, I'm very happy though. I said, I can see that. Anyway, then I saw my sister coming towards me, and I was so surprised because, you know, I had this sister and she died very young. When I was about 12, we called her Kate. I thought, this is strange. Kate's not here. Kate's dead. And there she was, and she came to me and she got a great big bunch of flowers in her arms. Beautiful flowers. They were fresh flowers with a dew on. And she says, here, I brought you these, and we're so glad that you've come. And she says, Mother's coming soon, and also Pa.
Kate explained to Mary that she had died and that she would take her out of the recovery area to have a reunion with their family who had previously died. A few people describe awakening in a field or other pleasant surroundings. A man named George Wilmot described awakening under a tree in a field. He saw a horse coming toward him. It was his old horse, Jenny, whom he loved. Jenny had come to greet him in the afterlife.
Do you know, that may make you laugh, but it's perfectly true. Mind you, I was always fond of people. I always took an interest in people. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I can say this with honesty, that often people will come and ask me proper questions if they're in trouble. It's always glad to help people. I'm very fond of people. But the odd thing was, and in a way I'm not surprised because I was so fond of her, but my old Jenny was the one that I first saw when I come in. Oh. Yeah, that's got you guessing. But Jenny wasn't either of my wives, thank God. It was my horse. Oh, yeah, she was old Jenny. She used to pull my calf in my earlier years in the 30s, you know. I was real upset when poor Jenny collapsed and died, you know. She was as near to me as any woman could be. In fact, more so. I had great affection and regard for old Jenny, and she knew everything that I ever said to her. I'm sure she did. She was as small, as cute as that calf. She was a real beaut. She wasn't much to look at, I suppose, as horses go, of course, but she was a real nice old nag, she was. And the first thing I remember when I woke up over here was being in a, well, I suppose you'd call it a field. I seemed to be lying under a tree, and I remember sort of waking up, and I could see this horse coming towards me. And there was my old Jenny. God, she looked younger, of course, and she was so thrilled and so happy. You could sense and feel it. I can't say how. I mean, this is something I can't explain. But it's almost as if she was talking to me. It was extraordinary. I couldn't hear any voice, and you don't expect to hear a horse speak. But it was somehow mentally, I suppose, now I realise it must have been as if she was speaking to me and welcoming me. And she came and stood beside me and was licking my face. Goodness me, I never forget this as long as I live. And I was so thrilled, so excited. And I was patting her and fussing her.
There are always reunions with the people and pets the person loved while on earth, although the reunion may be delayed when the transition is sudden or the person goes through a period of rest or sleep. Family, friends, and even acquaintances have a joyous coming home experience with the new arrival. There is a life review. Evidence from near-death experiences and mediums who have reported what people living in the life after this life have described to them corroborates the understanding that people experience a life review after making the transition. In the life review, the individual reviews all the significant actions and events during the person's life, feeling them from the points of view of the people involved, as well as the person's point of view. There is no judgment or punishment involved. In the life review, people judge themselves, thereby experiencing profound learning from reviewing the actions and feeling the sentiments of the others involved. There is no judgment. There is no condemnation. We evaluate our lives in the life review and come to our own sentiments about the life we led. The life review helps the person learn from the results of their actions, and perhaps the person feels regretful, sad, and dismayed. But those emotions are not inflicted upon the person. They are signs we understand the impact of our actions upon the other people, so we learn about loving through reviewing our actions. There is no hell. No one speaking through mediums from the life after this life describes a hell or a place of torment. The concept of a hell is a myth invented by the church in the 2nd century CE. It is simply inconceivable that the universal intelligence, God, embodying pure love, would put people into torture for a moment, let alone for an eternity. Look forward to that time after the life after this life, because this is going to be a wonderful period for you.